former policeman Frederick Leliman has been sentenced to death for the murder of Willie Kimani, his client and a driver. Two other former police officers and an informer who collaborated with him were handed between 20 and 30-year jail terms. Justice Jesse Lesit said the four killed lawyer Willie Kimani, his client and driver in, quote, the most foul circumstances with a meticulous planning and execution. Lesit said that the respective sentences will run concurrently. Rose Wangoi begins our broadcast.
The sentencing of four police officers in the murder of lawyer Willie Kimani and his client Josephat Mwenda and taxi driver Joseph Moirori took place today at the Milimani Law Courts in Nairobi. After 6 years on trial, former police officers Frederick Leliman, Stephen Cheburet, Sylvia Wanjiku, and police informer Peter Ngugi were convicted of carrying out the murders in 2016 in one of a series of cases of alleged police brutality and extrajudicial killings across the country. After a lengthy court trial, families of the victims sat in a pensive mood waiting for the verdict. In her judgment, Justice Jesse Lesit said evidence produced during the trial had shown that the murders were premeditated and the victims brutally tortured and killed.
The meticulous planning, implementation and the brutal execution of the deceased, to say the least, this was a most foul murder, an execution that was most heinous.
Lesit said Frederick Leliman was the mastermind of the sophisticated murder. Leliman was sentenced to death. Stephen Cheburet was sentenced to 30 years in jail, while Sylvia Wanjiku and police informer Peter Ngugi were sentenced to 24 and 20 years in jail, respectively. During the trial, the prosecution presented 46 witnesses and 117 exhibits. Lesit said the respective sentences will run concurrently. A fourth former police officer, Leonard Mwangi, was acquitted in June 2022 of a lack of sufficient evidence against him. It was an emotional moment for the families of the victims. The late Josephat Mwenda's wife, Rebecca Wanja, collapsed outside the Milimani Law Courts shortly after the sentencing of the four convicts. Willie Kimani's widow, Hannah Wanjiku, welcomed the court ruling.
Today we are very happy that justice has been served, and at least now Willie can rest in peace. And along the way we had lost hope. We thought it would never happen, but we really thank God because our God is a God of justice.
After 7 years, tumepata justice. Okay, we had confidence with Jesse Lesit from the word go. Although haijakuwa rahisi, it was very tough, lakini Mungu ametushindania. So tunasikia vizuri, tunasikia okay, these are my brothers. Na tunasikia tuko relieved, hata tumesema leo mtu anasikia vizuri tu, amerelax, kila kitu imeenda vizuri, we thank God.
Hii nilikuwa nimesikia vibaya sana kwa ndugu yangu, lakini mimi nimefurahia na hiyo uamuzi wa koti, na Lesit amefanya kitu ya maana sana, na mimi nashukuru Mungu.
Hannah said that it would be emotionally torturing to explain to the kids the sentencing of their father's murderers, but she would do her best to make them understand.
The kids are doing well. They are in school. Castro has memory of the dad, but Patterson does not have the memory of dad because in 2016 he was 9 months old. I will try and explain to them in a language they will be able to understand.
The murder of Kimani highlighted the many extrajudicial killings and disappearances that have been blamed on the Kenyan police.
Of course, we would have loved to have a higher sentence for the second, third and the fifth accused. But we believe that this sends a strong message to the people, especially the police officers who have been given the mandate to protect Kenyans, and they turn those particular mandates to violate the other Kenyans.
The tolerance for what we used to call rogue officers, that tolerance is now over.
The bodies of Willie Kimani, Josephat Mwenda and Joseph Moirori were found stashed in gunny bags in Old Onyosabuk, Machakos County on July 1st, 2016. They had been dumped in River Athi and were found more than a week after the men were reported missing. Willie Kimani was defending motorbike driver Mwenda, who had accused policeman Frederick Leliman of shooting him for no reason at a traffic stop in 2015. Former police officer Frederick Leliman, who was sentenced to death, and the other 3 convicts can appeal against their conviction and sentencing within 14 days. Rose Wangoi, NTV.